it's Uncle Destiny here with you, and welcome back. We're about to do our reading for the month of February. Now, I want to remind everyone that this is a general reading for everybody, so anything more specific, we want to contact me at the information below so that we can find out what the ancestors and spirits hold for you. Now, since this is the month of February, as we all know, at least those of us in the Western Hemisphere, it's Valentine's Day, so it's a romantic month. So we'll see what the ancestors have to say on the relationship and romance standpoint. But it's also a reminder that that relationships and romance is something that should be happening year-round, rather than just a specific day. Also, I also want to remind you that this next month here in San Jose, there is going to be PantheaCon, which is a gathering of it's a gathering of pagan spiritualists and such, many different faiths and practices there. So if you have a chance, come down to the DoubleTree in San Jose near the airport and pay a visit to the convention. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get the ancestors in and see what they have to say. Alright, so everything that falls off the reading surface is not part of the reading. So what we have here, it's very clustered, especially around our primary three bones. This one has to do with family. This one's work. And since it is February in the love month, this one has to do with relationship. Now, the work and the relationship bones are actually crossed with each other. And the way the bones fall actually kind of reminds me of looking at the Roman numeral 11, which is kind of very appropriate when you think about relationships, since it is a person to a person. And together they sort of form the number 1, or if you've condensed it down further, the number 2, which is usually is number 4, romance. But I see them crossing. So the issues around your relationship, around romance, and your work are going to be tied. So this could mean that you'll meet your significant other, or at least someone that you can have a romantic relationship through your work. Now, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily a coworker. They could be someone who comes and visits, or that in the process of you doing your job, you encounter this person. So let's say you're a surveyor, somebody who's out on a walk on a nature trail, strike up a conversation with them. But work and romance are definitely linked together. Now, this also brings in the other bones that are around it, which are a lot more of the support and spinal bones. So there is a lot of energy coming up in this that is going to build for the future. There's a lot of support there too. Now, just also equally, it can mean that the impact of your work is going to have an impact on your relationship, such as you may be spending too much time there, or you may need to spend more time over at your work and less on your relationship. As much as a relationship can have a very affect how we grow and interact, it sometimes can distract us from other points that are also equally important. And sometimes that's work, especially if you're in a tight financial situation. And 2, that can also affect how you even view the concept of having a relationship. If you feel like you're in a constant survival mode, a relationship may not be the first thing you're focusing on. And it may also be appropriate not to focus on that until you are in a state where you feel that you are not having to constantly be looking at the bank account and can I do these activities, and worrying about the finances. So long as you're worrying about that, you don't have the energy or the bandwidth to be able to put into a relationship to somebody else, learning their needs and being able to be there to support them. So there's the other side to how the work and relationship bones are crossing and interacting with each other. And it's actually very appropriate and okay to take that other route if it is the situation at that time. There is support there for that path too. But the key thing is being aware of what the interaction between the two of those things are. Now when we move over here to this bone, the home and family, it's right now on the periphery of some of the skeletal, or not skeletal, the rib cage support bones here, and shows that there is going to be some influence there, but it's going to be its own issues altogether. It can be very singular. So it may also be a time where it's good to withdraw a little. So there's major family dynamics going on, but it doesn't necessarily involve you. It's okay to pull back and let these people deal with what's going on. It also may mean that it's a good idea to just pull back and spend some time to yourself in your home, especially if you live alone or in a place where you can have that personal reflective space. So it's okay to have that point of pulling back and being just yourself, being on your own focus during this month. And especially a relationship, looking at the relationship angle, it's also a relationship with yourself. I mean, one of the classic statements of dating is you have to be able to date yourself. You have to be able to love yourself. Because if you can't love yourself, who's going to want to love you? So they're bringing in, again, that singularity. And so dealing with it in the home situation is how are you loving yourself in your home? And creating that space. Because eventually if you make a loving home for yourself to be able to live in, eventually it's much easier to share it with somebody else. Now we get to the other bones that are scattered out here, almost like a spray. We have the copper piece here. And this one is showing that it's about our in connection to the higher self and the spirit world and their flow. And it is also around one of the support bones and tail. But it also has a bone next to it that is one of the teeth. So there's a question about support and nourishment, and especially in relation to spirituality and higher forces. How are you nourishing and how are you supporting that connection and that work? And how can they support and nourish you? Because all of these relationships are two-way, not just one way. The other scattered bones show that as we're coming towards the spring equinox, which will happen in March, that there's a number of things that we're seeing the seasonal year come to an end. So February is the end period of the seasonal year. Kind of think of it like the end of November, beginning of December. And the seasonal energy is going to start shifting. It's going to start reawakening. As we know, next month also is Groundhog's Day, and the question of whether it's going to be a long winter or a short one. I would say from this, expect it to be a long winter. So figure 6 more weeks, but we'll have to wait and see if Punxsutawney Phil agrees with this. But you definitely want to be able to be preparing your seeds for what you want to plant in the spring. And what do you want to grow? And that includes relationships as well, but also your prosperity, your fortune, your growth into the new years, as well as what do you want to build, not just for yourself, but socially too. So what impact and support are you giving socially? So that's about what the ancestors have to say for the month of February. Join me again, and we will talk about what March and the spring equinox have to show us. Otherwise, this is Uncle Destiny. I hope you have a blessed day, and may the ancestors watch over you. Ashe.